Welcome to Slayerfest 98. I'm Ian Carlos Crawford.
I'm Michael Hamm.
Yes.
And I'm Ashley Hullett. And we are here today to talk about Slayers, a Buffyverse Story, episode 6.
Yay. Hammy, this is your first Slayers episode, so how have you felt listening to the series? You haven't fully listened to it like me. You're going through as we record, but how have you felt so far?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I come with a few caveats, which are the sort of audiobooks are tough for me.
Yeah.
Audio dramas are a little tougher, honestly, than audiobooks for me. So I'm not fully engrossed in it, but I don't think that that's like a knock on the product itself, more so like my ability to wrap my head around it and not be able to visualize anything. But I've given all the episodes that you guys have done so far 2 listens to make sure I could really, really focus. And you know, I'm okay with it. It doesn't feel like I'm wasting my time. How's that for a glowing recommendation?
I love it. Doesn't like, I mean, but you know, I feel like I'm happy that you are enjoying it. I was afraid you were going to hate it because I feel like you and I like the same things, but have different opinions about the same things that we like usually.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty tough to impress. So me saying that it's not a waste of my time is honestly a compliment. Like episode 1 was amazing because it was just so exciting to hear everyone.
Right. Yes,
and
yes.
Every time we got a new voice, I was like very excited, but then I'm just kind of like going through the motions. No pun intended. Oh dear God. Yeah, but it's okay. Like every episode has kind of left me feeling a different way.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
And before we get into the episode, I have to give our upcoming Halloween live show at the Stonewall in a little bit of a promo. It's going to be Sunday the 29th. Doors open at 2 p.m. It will be a remixed, remastered live script reading of Buffy Season 4's Fear Itself, with Ryan Houlihan doing Buffy-themed Anya drag, all set to the music of Olivia Rodrigo. I will be playing Oz because I'm making myself the man of my dreams. And we've got Ivy LaBelle, Nick G, Gabe Gonzalez, and a lot of other wonderful people joining. And you can get your tickets at Eventbrite. And my one last promo is we have a Patreon. If you'd like to subscribe, any and all support is much appreciated. We have Zoom calls, we have watch-alongs, we have covered Firefly and Harley Quinn. Zachary Patton Garcia and I did a year or 2 of a sex talk show called My Nudie Judy, and Hammy did it for 6 months to a year with me, right?
Yeah, we did some horny episodes.
Yeah. And so any and all support is much appreciated. So episode 6, we're kind of in it now, right? They're in the alternate universe. So I will say it slowed down a little bit for me. This one felt a little bit. I don't know if either of you watched The Mandalorian. A lot of people's critiques of The Mandalorian was it felt like video game quests. And this a little bit did start to feel that way for me for this episode. And I get it, for plot wise and for episode numbers, you have to split them all up. But I'm kind of I just wanted them back together. I just want them all and that would be too many cooks in one kitchen, right? If all of these voices were constantly all in the same room, I think that would add to Hammy the same issue I have where an audio drama, I do clock out a little bit. And that would probably make it worse, right? If they all were together.
Yeah, it would likely get pretty confusing. I'm already kind of confused listening to it sometimes, but I think listening to your guys' podcasts about this before I listened to it, you had mentioned the video gaminess of it on another episode. And so I don't know if that was just stuck in my head the whole time, but it's all I can think of. And you're absolutely right. That is the vibe of it's we must go here so we can get the compass, but we need Giles to get the compass. Now we must use the compass. The compass doesn't work. Oh no, we need to go get the book. Someone must go get the book. Oh, we've got the book. Someone else has the book. Well, we have to get the book from the different dimension. And I was like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
I feel like it's a credit that we both feel that way. And actually, I heard you even say, yeah, and it's but I still enjoy it, right? That's
Absolutely.
that is a credit to it. So Spike starts off, he's in that crypt, sarcophagus, whatever. And I didn't love the fourth wall break, but then I kind of liked it because I liked the idea of like he's stuck in a sarcophagus and he just has like no one else to talk to. So sure, he's talking to himself. And what do you think of Indira, Hammy? Because I do really like her.
Boy, oh boy. I'm a tough sell on a teenager. I don't know if you remember when we talked about Miss Marvel, but I'm a tough sell on a teen. And I at first I was getting like big Miss Marvel vibes, like with the fangirly kind of I check Reddit all the time energy.
Yeah.
But oh God, the puns. She has really endeared herself to me in a way where like that part of her character is gone, and now we just get to see like this charming young girl. I also think she's one of the best actors on this show. Like her voice work is fucking phenomenal. So yeah, I do like her a lot more than I did in the first 2 episodes.
That's fair. And yeah, Ashley, didn't we look it up? And it's like she has done a bunch of like Nickelodeon cartoons.
Yes, she has.
And that would that makes sense, right? Because she is one of the better voice actors. I don't think anyone's bad, but she
stands out.
Yeah. And I like that even though she's a fangirl, we have toned it down a little bit, and that like she is still able to be like annoyed, right? Like she's like, "Come on, Spike, are you talking to yourself? Like, what are you doing?"
Yeah. I love him being like, "I'm talking to myself. I'm in a
coffin." Yeah. And like when she's like talking to Cordelia, and he's like, "I can still hear you," and she's like, "Good, then maybe you won't screw this up." I like all of that banter. That feels like reminds me of the show, right?
Yeah, she's like the witty character who has like the snappy comebacks, and it's very fitting. And yeah,
because I feel like everyone else is like understandably like they've allowed them to age, so they're not quite as like perky and peppy as they were 20 years ago, right?
She also doesn't have to do any of the exposition, which like is very helpful in her favor because. Exposition is tough to deliver, so she just gets to be the cool, snappy one.
Cordy mentions like, "Oh, your world's celebrity slayer" when they're talking. I do like Cordelia immediately kind of not liking Buffy, even though she doesn't know who she is, just because she's annoyed that they keep like bringing her up. I feel like that tracks, right?
Yeah.
Cordelia looks at Buffy, he's like, "In every unit, I'd love to be annoyed with you in any universe."
Yes.
They set up this fake ritual, and for a minute I was like, I will say like the first part of this I was like, wait a minute, but why are we doing all of this fancy? And then it was so that Drusilla would believe that he came back from the dead.
Yeah, I was a little confused about that. I was confused why they were doing a spell. When they do the spell, there's like a big bolt of lightning, I assume, or thunder, and I was like, wait, are they doing like a real ass spell? Like, are they gonna also bring the dead Spike back by accident? But no.
Oh, that would have been fun.
We don't have time for more plots.
We don't.
That's true.
But we will get there, because at the end I was like, wait a minute, is that what happened? I thought we were going to have like a switcheroo.
Ooh.
They do the fake ritual. I do like, Indira's like, I remember all my lines. I was a lead in my play. Because I think that's like a cute detail for remembering why she's so good at like keeping up the act like later.
Mm-hmm.
Spike, comes out of his coffin. I like the idea that the ghouls are like gossipy.
Yeah.
Right? Just like same, but
I certainly relate to the ghouls more than I want to.
I was gonna say, Hammy, it's me and you. Once we're dead, it's like, ooh. Then we cut to, the ghouls are gonna tell Drusilla. We cut to Giles. He was knocked unconscious per usual. I was a little lost here because he's like a gorilla or someone dressed like one hit him.
Also very, very lost. Right? They fell in the dock, then presumably they walk from the dock to the zoo, and they get to the zoo, and then there are
hyena people,
animals
right?
in the zoo, and hijinks ensue, I guess.
Yeah.
Do we think that the gorilla thing was like another, and I hate that I'm the one that fucking is bringing this up, but the pack, they had like the zookeeper like raised them or whatever, and doesn't he knock Giles out?
Oh.
Probably.
I will say yes. Because I love an Easter egg.
So I just assumed that the person dressed like a gorilla was whoever was controlling the were hyena.
Ashley, it's funny that you picked up on that reference, and that's the episode you hate the most. And you're like, no, I remember.
I think that's why I was like,
I think that makes as much sense as anything else it could possibly be.
Yeah, I'm buying that. So then Giles is like, I did appreciate that Clem just fucking ate the lion. I like that Clem's getting in on the action, right?
Yeah, but don't eat the lion.
It was gonna kill Giles though, or kill Clem.
Yeah, I do like that we're getting like vicious Clem, but the poor guy, he broke his 3-month streak of not eating felines, so.
Yeah, I love that he's like, please don't tell anyone.
And I feel like I didn't know that it would work so well, but I feel like pairing Giles with Clem really is good, because it's always good to pair Giles with someone who is like more on the sillier side of the Buffyverse, because he's so not. And like Giles knows his shit, but he's like, all right, come, like, let's get through the silliness and like do the thing we need to do. So I think it works that we have Clem and Papyanka, like that's like the Giles half, because it is so wacky, and he balances it out. Hammy, what do you think of Papyanka?
I do not enjoy Papyanka.
No!
I am not a fan. It actually, like, that character, well, Anyanka in general and Papyanka and Jasper are 3 characters I was kind of just auditorily annoyed by.
Right.
But they get kind of charming by the end of this episode.
Oh, okay.
And it was honestly like you guys talking about it that made me think like, it is kind of cute. There are a lot of real good one-liners by Papyanka, so I don't know, maybe it's okay.
I love that. Yeah, I can see why it might be too silly, but I don't know, it just works. I mean, Ashley, it works for you, right?
Yeah, I love it.
anything that isn't Mr. Pickles, I'll take. If that's the sacrifice, if we need to remove one animal from this story.
I agree with you.
Am I the only one who likes Mr. Pickles?
You can't. You're not allowed. It's illegal. You're contrarian. No one likes Mr. Pickles.
I don't know. I kind of like the idea of like the witches in this universe getting familiars. And I guess because, I don't know, I just recently, when I was like doing some photos for the podcast, I had on the first 2 episodes of Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. And I kept thinking like, this really would like meld well with the Buffyverse. And I was thinking of like shit they could take cues from, because Sabrina was hit or miss, but when it was hit, I think it was like very hit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was like, oh, that's something they could have taken. And then we did get familiar, but I guess the familiar is kind of there conveniently when Tara needs to really do an exposition dump and there's no other characters available.
That's weird to me, because like so many people do exposition anyway. Like, I feel like they could just have her talking to herself and it wouldn't be a weird thing. She could just be like, I've got to get that book. I've got to like get this thing ready for Drusilla. Otherwise she's going to think that I'm a failure and I'm going to blah, blah, blah. And my plan won't work out. Rather than being like, what's that, Mr. Pickles? Yes, I do need to get this spell finished. What? Mr. Pickles, you don't think Drusilla's going to be mad at me, do you, Mr. Pickles? I'm like, come on.
I love the idea of the witches having familiars.
Yes.
It's Mr. Pickles specifically that doesn't work for me. He pulls me out of it every single time. And I don't know what, but the talking dog, it does not. I can see it. I can visualize it. It does not pull me out of it.
I like the monkey that doesn't talk. That's just a monkey. You're like, get that fucking thing out of here. But the talking dog, you're like, oh yeah,
yeah. I like a little realism.
So
I want to say about Giles and Clem, what I like about them together is that like Giles is always good when he's paired with someone who's like peppy and positive.
Yeah.
But like it's amazing to see Giles paired with someone like that who he doesn't have to protect, or he's not worried about protecting, or has no interest in protecting whatsoever. Because like when you get him with like Dawn or Buffy or Willow, whoever is giving the smart alecky remarks that he has to kind of groan towards, he still loves them and cares about them. And with Clem, he's like, I don't care. Like, kill me now. I don't want to be here. And it's like, it's a nice different side of Giles.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about that. You're right. Because like Clem actually is the more capable, like technically the more capable fighter here, because he's a demon and he can just, unhinge his jaw and eat things.
But Giles hasn't like seen that happen yet.
Oh, you're right. He hasn't.
No.
But I guess with eating the lion though, now he like knows that some form of that. He doesn't know like to what extent, but he knows like,
Right.
okay, Clem can eat a thing. So Clem mentions something which is important for later. Like Giles says like, oh, Papyanka ran away. We need to warn Anya. And Clem mentions if Papyanka merged with Anya, it could be like The Fly. And then he mentions like both versions of that movie, which is important for later. Almost so much so that I was like,
sorry,
yeah.
I just clocked in. Yeah. Wow. Amazing.
So much so that I was like, did someone make this reference earlier, or am I just referencing this in my head? And now that I see my notes, I'm like, oh yes, that was the thing. Giles gives a little bit of like he says that, this Anya has the same good heart as the Anya from his reality, and he let the Anya from his reality down and doesn't want to let this one down. Which I thought was nice because we did talk a little bit in the previous episodes how Giles didn't seem too like happy or shocked to see Anya. So I was glad to like circle back to that, to be like, okay, yeah, he is like a little bit like, Anya died. I feel bad about it.
Yeah, it was nice to hear him open up a little bit about it.
And that tracks for Giles, right? That is how he would feel about that.
Yeah, and I feel like he's also not just going to like immediately start gushing.
Yeah.
Like he's just not that expressive person, So I think it tracks that it took him some time to be able to talk about it.
No, I agree. Then we cut to Tara and Anya. At the end of last episode, I was like, wait a minute, is Anya dying again? Like, we can't be doing this again, right? So they, are fighting, and this part's a little bit weak for me. Because they keep going back and forth, like, were Anya and Tara the best friends? Was it Anya, Tara, Cordelia? Cordelia has said a couple times, like, she didn't have any friends, she didn't want any friends, but then has called Tara and Anya, like, her close friends or her best friends. I almost wish there was, like, something more definitive that I could, like, have the background there. I don't know. What do you both think?
I was confused in this scene with who was talking sometimes. So yeah, like I couldn't really fully clock the voices sometimes when they were going back and forth. So the fact that the conversation was a bit confusing, combined with the fact that like I was having a hard time figuring out what was what, made this a very tough scene for me.
Ashley?
I feel like Cordelia saying that she doesn't have any friends and stuff is just part of the like tough girl persona. I think that she was friends with them. Somebody in one of the past episodes mentioned that it felt like Tara and Anya were best friends, and then Cordelia somehow ended up meeting them and needing their help, and then kind of fell into it. So she's kind of like the third addition to this already set friendship. And I think that feels kind of true with the way that they talk about each other.
I could see that, kind of like how Buffy, I mean, even though eventually in the show, her and Willow were the best friends, but like Buffy came into Willow and Xander's friendship that was like already there.
Exactly, yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, I could see that.
Thank God for Ashley.
I know. Do you think one of us is paying attention? Sure as shit ain't the host of this podcast. So then another thing that I'm not fully clear on is Tara during this fight mentions this universe's reality. This universe's Anya was also stripped of Anyanka. And I'm like, but earlier they say she's just a witch and like she's not. It seems, I don't know, I was a little bit confused there because I assumed that this Anya was like a witch and there was no Anyanka. I don't know.
I don't have any clear thoughts on that.
That's fair. That's fair.
I wrote this down. So the Anyanka of Anya is... oh God. The Anyanka of my world was separated from me and banished from this world. In your world, you were separated from your Anya, and she died. I came into your reality. Now you're here and my dog, and you want me to... No, I don't want to join with you, is what I have written down. So I don't know if anyone listening can make heads or tails of the words that just spewed out of my mouth, but that is the situation with the Anyankas and the Anyas of both places. And scene.
All right, well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very well done.
Yes.
Tara also says during the scene that she was here doing inventory last year.
Yes.
So how long has she been like slowly going dark?
I do think that would help me buy into Tara because like Dark Tara still isn't like that dark. Like Willow went dark and like the end of that day was her skinning a man alive. I mean, granted that man fucking deserved it and killed Tara, but you know what I mean? Like this Tara, has not done anything that
Right.
anywhere near that as like brutal or like gory, right?
Yeah, and I know that last episode I was like, no, it works for me. I really like it. But this episode is where it starts to get a little wonky for me with the good Tara, bad Tara. Because I feel like at this point they're just bringing out good Tara to like move the story along. And like,
Yeah.
I don't want to hear her just telling us exposition. We have monkeys and minions for that. And I feel like we're on episode 6 of 9 episodes. At this point, we should have much less good Tara if we're supposed to believe that we're getting Kurgan this often. Like, he should be overpowering good Tara enough that we're getting less of her. And I feel like we're not.
Yes, I agree. Hammy, what do you think of that?
Yeah, I think that good Tara is the reason why dark Tara isn't as dark as we want her to be.
Right.
Yeah.
So I kind of do believe that, like, I would like a little bit less of good Tara, more of dark Tara, and lots more of the evil demon man. Kurgan?
Yeah.
Kurgan?
I almost wish Kurgan had been like something, not that like a demon we had to have seen, but like, you know, maybe if like a grimoire, like Kurgan's grimoire was something that like they had to use in an episode or something like prior, just because it feels like Kurgan is such a presence, and it does feel like Kurgan is maybe the big bad, the actual big bad here. Right. So I'm just like, oh, I wish we had like, and we're not getting enough of him. You know what I mean? We're saying his name a lot, but we're not quite getting enough of him for me. Because I'm like, just like, have him come out. Like, I want there to be like a big, cool magic fight. Have him come out, and Hammy and I will never know who's doing what, who is standing where, but it'll be cool. It'll sound cool. I don't know. I think that's what I'm waiting for.
I think I agree with that. I want him to separate already. Like, we're 6 episodes in, and he hasn't come out yet. And having the 3 of them in one body, it doesn't feel like one is taking over more from the other. It just feels like there's 3 separate entities that say their line when they need to say their line.
Right.
And I don't know.
But so there, you know, Tara gets distracted because I didn't realize until like the next scene that the barking wasn't the puppy.
Yep. Second listen was when I clocked in on that too.
And I will say, while I don't know why, like you, Ashley, I'm like, yes, I can picture, because so Hammy, Ashley sent me and Zach a picture of her dog that looks, I was going to say looks just like Jasper, as if that, but like is what I've been picturing as Jasper. No, like is what I've been picturing as Jasper, because Ashley was like, I picked my dog, and then text a picture, and I was like, oh, yep, now that's what I'm picturing. So like, I can picture a dog that just has like this like weird demon voice. I couldn't picture like this big imposing demon that has a dog bark. But for like silly sake, sure, right? Tara leaves. She has the grimoire. We cut to Drusilla, and I don't even think I had learned Bang's name. I just remembered, oh, there's like that one vampire that's like her like head minion. But we get more of Bang here. And when they're discussing their background, I was like, am I supposed to like, are they going to be together? Did either of you think that? No.
No, not really, but I did really, really like this scene. I think, I don't know who plays Bang, but I felt like they had some good voice talent behind them, and Drusilla is so good in this as well. So like, I really liked this scene. Drusilla is just so crazy in this, and I just like anytime she gets to be this crazy and talking about how she murdered someone but just forgot for 40-something years. But I came back for you as soon as I remembered, and it's so good.
I think that was an Angel reference.
I was wondering that, right? I was like, is Bang like their version of Angel?
Oh. I think that's a normal thing that people do with vampires, right?
Is it?
Because there's no way to like with immortals or something. I don't know. The Netflix Dracula special, they couldn't kill Dracula, so they just put him in a thing and buried him at the bottom of the ocean forever.
That's fair.
Maybe that's it. Yeah.
Let's say it's an angel one, because I like an Easter egg.
I do too. Yeah, we kind of learned their background. I didn't take a lot of notes. I don't know if either of you is anything specific you want to talk about with that, other than the fact that Drusilla left her at the bottom of an ocean for a long time.
They just kind of talk about like Bang's just trying to tell Drusilla, which we learn later might be a little tricky trick, that Tara's not trying to hurt her, is telling her the truth, that, you know, Tara really does love her, and just like she should trust her and trust the process, basically.
And Drew says, good, because I wouldn't like to remove her eyes. And I was like, Jesus Christ.
I love Drew so much.
I
do too. Tara walks in. Drew is pissed that she didn't know where Tara was. Tara says she was only gone an hour. And that's when I do kind of like how, like, forwardly queer and, like,
horny.
Yeah, Drusilla is, and she's like, kneel, but not to kneel, but just because I liked you down there. I'm like, all right.
Like, yeah.
And like, and I feel like Drusilla has said numerous times how she likes what Tara does, like with their fingers or something.
She continues to talk about
I love it's just so horny, and I love it. Like the one thing I really do love about the series is like it feels like it's fixing some of the things from the past Buffy series that like couldn't happen. Like it's just so much gayer, which is amazing. And the women, although women have always been strong in Buffy, I just feel like they're getting like their dues in this one, and it's so good.
Yeah, and like that's totally been like they've said that's what they wanted to do with this, right, Ashley?
Yeah, and I think that they really accomplish it.
Yeah. So then what is it? Then the minions leave, and Drew is mad about like Tara seeing Anya. And I like this exchange. I wrote it down, and she's like, "It's like spiders crawling all over me." And Tara goes, "You're being a tad over dramatic, don't you think?" Because like that is very Drew, but also it is very dramatic.
Yeah.
Right?
That's why we love her. She was like, when Tara was gone for 1 hour, she was like, hurt feelings. What did I write down? Hurt feelings lead to weeping, bloodshed, and savagery. And I was like, yes. If my partner was gone for an hour, I would say the same thing.
They argue, then they fight a little bit, which I was surprised at. I do like that that one demon comes in, is like, Spike's back, and Drusilla kind of like implies a throuple, and Tara's like, don't even think about it.
She's like, not a chance in hell.
Yeah, Tara has no interest in Spike.
I love how quickly Drew got there, though. She was like, no, he's back. What means that, we can all fuck.
Yeah. Like she has her eyes on the prize, and we respect that. And then this is when they actually like fight. Yeah. And Drew says she's going because she needs to see if it's like really her lovely man. And then everyone's favorite Mr. Pickles enters.
Love that.
She says Tara's like, she doesn't know how Spike could be back. She saw him die. Now she can't trust Drew because Spike is back. She says something before she couldn't trust her because her mind was full of cobwebs, which I like.
Cobwebs and stardust. I wrote that down specifically because I was like, that is the perfect Drusilla description.
It really, right? Like, it's like spoken like Drusilla would say, but like also just like does describe her brain.
Absolutely.
And then, so a thing that I'm like, that's been like nudging at me this series is like, so like, you know, they say that Indira's like the new witch queen, and Tara does not like that. And we're all like using this title queen so much, and I'm like, but I don't know, like anyone can say, like in these universes, if you're like a demon, or you're even just say like, I'm the king of this, I'm the queen of this, whatever the hell you want. And it's not like there's like an actual kingdom, you know?
Yeah, I have a hard time believing there isn't a more powerful witch than Tara, who literally can't cast any spells.
Yeah.
I am really curious as to what the Willow in this universe was doing. I mean, I get that, like, you know, the way this universe is, it's very possible that Willow died, or that Willow didn't get into witchcraft, or, you know, was like one of the random extras that died in any of the episodes. Every one of the episodes where the school was attacked, or the students were attacked, or, you know, 10 other people died. Because, it still doesn't feel like I do want her to go full Dark Willow, and it doesn't feel like we're there. Then, what is it? And then after, we get a lot of like, you know, the Mr. Pickles make monkey noises, and we learn that he thinks Kurgan is controlling Tara, and that's why she's fallen for Drew. Which also brings up, I still want to know if Mr. Pickles is like chaotic neutral. Is he like good? Is he bad? I want to know where we land on
I have some questions about his intentions as well.
And we learn that Kurgan's plan is to become god of vampires, which, sure. Bang enters, and Tara has an exposition dump about the grimoire. Bang says
For the
Tara,
5th time.
Yes. And now it's like, okay, I guess we're saying different things each time, but like every time my brain is like, boop, 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 doo, doo, doo. Like,
Too bad. Must get book.
Yeah.
Need book for bad.
I feel like that was the thing I kind of did really appreciate about Buffy, is that it like took a page out of Star Trek where it'd be like, we're going to say one nonsense line and that is the plot and that is it. It doesn't matter if you don't get it because it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. We're doing this like, we're going to have a cool action fight thing and we're going to talk about it. Like, you don't really need to know the like ins and outs of the specific spells, right?
I think that's the one thing I've been struggling with the most in this is them having to feel like they need to explain every magical thing or explain how vampires can't go into the sun in like excruciating detail, which part of me thinks that's really cool.
Yeah.
But when it happens like many, many times, but each time something slightly different is added, my brain is like, Buffy has never had to be like, we're doing this spell and this is the reason we're putting the Eye of Newt into the cauldron is because it will interact with and I'm like, you just put it in there and say it made a spell and now the house is protected and no one can come in.
Yeah.
And they're just like, the book is this way. And because of that, and I'm like, oh, fuck.
Yeah. And so once again, Bang is telling Tara something, which later we will see is there's a reason for. She's, but Bang isn't incorrect, right? Because she says like this new witch girl might excite her majesty, even if Spike's not back, and like if he is, then it will not matter. Like she can't trust Drew. And Tara asks Bang why she was telling her, and Bang kind of like I was like, because we had that angel parallel, I was like, are we going to learn that she has a soul? Because it does feel like Bang is like kind of more human than the vampires usually are, right?
And just like very, very intelligent and smart. It feels like one of the few like genuinely fleshed out side characters that I, for some reason, care about.
Yeah, I agree.
We do get the one Mr. Pickles line that I do like is when he congratulates her on her audacity.
Oh, that is so good.
I forgot about that.
That makes me feel like Mr. Pickles is chaotic, to say the very least.
Yeah.
Hammy, I could see you doing that, being like, you're just like sitting back, not giving a shit, and you're like, congratulations on the audacity, and then going back to not giving a shit.
Well, and Mr. Pickles, like the things he's saying that she's responding to, it's like, he's sitting there like, well, do you think Drew really likes you, or does she just want the book? Like, that's how I picture Mr. Pickles. And her being like, what do you mean, Mr. Pickles? Drew doesn't like me and she just wants the book? And he's like, yeah, that's what I just said. Why did you repeat that?
I mean, yeah, that's fair.
I actually like Mr. Pickles. I changed my mind.
You talked yourself into it.
Yeah.
Love it. Tara then wants to like, Bang is like down for Tara to test the spell on her. But she says to get Alphania because she needs to drain her. Points to me for finally getting an Easter egg before anyone else did. Hammy, did you recognize that name?
No, but I was very proud of you when I listened to that episode and you got it right.
Thanks.
That's our little Buffy the Vampire Slayer podcast host.
Sometimes I know a thing. So then we cut to Spike. I do like when he says he's gotten into audiobooks. And I was like, I wonder if that's like a meta thing because this is on Audible.
Of course. It was brilliant.
Also, it like does make sense, right?
Yeah. And I want to know what audiobooks he's listening to.
Ashley, I feel like you and Spike would like gush about Heartstopper together. I really do.
I would love that so much. Do you think he's just like spinning all of Alice Oseman's novels?
I think only like the ones that have like a cute romance. Like if it doesn't seem like it does, and he's not like, I feel like he like really leans into like the romance of it all.
I was trying to think like, cause he was into like passions and stuff. So I'm thinking he's probably into like super dramatic, like romance, cheesy novels.
Mm-hmm. Like all the like books that kind of look the same now on the shelf that are like romance. And it's like, I feel like he would be like eating them all up, but he wouldn't want anyone to know.
Yeah. And I can see him like sitting and like listening to it when it gets to the part where they inevitably like have some sort of conflict, and him like being like, oh, come on, like,
Yes.
now you know this isn't
Yes.
what's happening, blah blah blah.
I did like perfectly picture that in like his like season 5, 6 crypt.
Exactly, yes.
And like he's got like his like earbuds in and he's like, I'm like mad because they fake break up.
Always painting his nails black.
Yes. Relatable. Drew spots him and she's like so happy. And I will say it was kind of like fun hearing them together again.
Yes.
So I was like, right, it's been a while since like in the show's universe, like, you know, what, like they don't interact in present day after season 5 of Buffy. Yeah. Everything else is just like a flashback, which like, sure, that counts, but it feels like we haven't had them like not in a flashback in forever. And Spike says like Drew forgot about him and moved on. Drew says Cordelia chopped his head off and we learn that that's like they were trying this daylight spell, right? When Cordelia chopped his head off.
Yeah, I think so.
And I do like when Drusilla says, if I didn't miss you, I'd be very cross with you.
It's so good to hear them together too. Like James and Juliet have such amazing chemistry. And so to hear them interacting with each other again was like, like squealing and kicking my feet.
Yes, it made me very happy. And I was like, oh shit, we're on episode 6 and they hadn't interacted yet. Like that is wild because, and I forget, you're right. I do forget that they have such good chemistry because it's like, I think of like him with Buffy, but it's like, oh, right. Him and Drew really were like really good villains together.
Yeah. In the grand scheme of things, they didn't have that much screen time together compared to like him and Buffy.
Right. Yeah. And then Spike brings up the Gem of Amara. And I'm glad that this is explained because in my notes, I'm like, I don't understand. Like, why is Indira, is she pretending to be confused? Like, doesn't she know this is the plan? But we learn why she is seemingly confused.
Yeah, I don't think that she had any idea about the Gem of Amara. I think he probably was just winging it and was like, oh, this is a good excuse.
Yeah.
This part was, I really liked the scene because, like you guys said, Spike and Drusilla are amazing together. Yeah. And Indira fit in really well for absolutely no reason. Like,
right, she did.
She was really fun to have there. But one of the tropes I hate in anything is when people do bad acting and we're expected to like not to believe that the other person didn't catch on. Yeah. So during that part where they're like, yes, I know what we're doing, right? I was like, I hate when things do that. And then they cut me off because it's Drusilla. And she was like, oh, you've got cobwebs in your brain too. And I was like, oh, fuck yeah. They thought about it. I was like, I loved it.
Hammy, yes, I have that in my notes. It's like, I love that Drew explains it for us as to why she believes it.
Right, because I was like, there's no way. And then they were like, shut up, Hammy.
That's one of my favorite like bits from the entire episode. She says, your brain is a bit muddy, isn't it, pretty cat? Just like mine.
Yes.
Meow. And then Indira's like, yeah, okay. Like her reaction to Drew is so good.
The meow is really good. Yeah. And I do like that when the vampires come out, it's like they don't just have the Gem of Amara, they have like all that treasure, because I forgot in that episode, right? It's like kind of like Indiana Jones and the Holy Grail, where it's like there's a bunch of shit and they have to figure out which one is the like gem, but there was a bunch of like treasure there, because I immediately cut to Harmony wearing it all.
Yeah.
And when they go down there, which is me.
Yeah, same. Like, ooh, shiny. I'm gonna put all this on and take it.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, cute. What are we here for? I don't know. I have like a bunch of jewelry on though.
Oh my God. You're the Abu from Aladdin. You're just like, oh, pretty shiny thing. Oh, screwed everything up.
Yep. Cut to Tara. And like, this is when I put, we're explaining too much. And then I have explaining. I don't care. We're explaining. We're explaining again.
Yeah, my note just says Tara explains.
My notes just say, oh, Mr. Pickles is back. Although I don't actually think he's even back in this scene. I think I just heard Tara and was like, no.
I think so. And then here I was like, are Bang and Tara going to end up together? Like,
oh my God, Ian, turn the horny down just like 2 notches.
I can't.
Kieran and Tara going to get together?
God, listening to this episode, are Ian and Hammy going to get together?
Oh my God. We saw you from across the bar. So
Tara does the spell on Bang, but like, I it doesn't matter. I was saying I'm not fully clear on like they're saying like they won't know for sure until the sun comes up.
Yeah. I don't know all the ins and outs, but I did write down the end game is to make it so that their biological clocks always think it's night. And so that's why they have to wait till day. But this episode made me super confused about things that I was really confident about last episode. So I don't know for sure.
To your point, Ashley, I have a note that says they'll use magic to stop a quote unquote biological clock, which like, sure, fine, whatever. I didn't even remember. Like I couldn't like pay attention to the context of what the biological clock is. Someone is listening to this like, you
Screaming.
idiots, what are you talking about?
Well, yeah, but those people don't have to do a podcast about it. So they're not like jotting notes down every 4 seconds about everything else.
It really is hard with these, isn't it? Because it's like they're constantly giving exposition. I'm like, just not ever not taking notes while like listening.
Well, and because it's audio, like so many notes.
Yeah, the amount of go back 10 seconds that I've done.
Yep.
But also while she's doing this spell on her, Miss Bang keeps talking and Tara keeps telling her to shut up. And I'm like, are you trying to fuck this spell up? Like, are you trying to get turned into like a frog or something? Because she keeps telling you to shut up. If a witch was doing a spell on me and told me to shut up, I would not say a fucking word.
That is fair.
Same.
So then, what is it? Kurgan keeps popping through. They won't know if Tara says the spell shook something loose inside her. Sure. Bang won't go get Alphania. She says Tara's an impressive witch and getting as far away from Sunnydale as she can because she made a deal with Cordelia.
Dun, dun, dun.
Cordy says part of the deal was access to Drew's secret tunnels. That's how she got in without being noticed. And yeah, we're doing a lot of work with Bang here, which I am curious if we will go back to her at the end, because if like that's it, she's just a minion. I'm like, oh, that was a lot for just a minion that, you know.
They had to get Cordelia in here somehow.
Yeah, true.
Right. Yeah, we needed that one minion. It felt intentional when Bang said like called Cordelia a friend, and Cordelia's like, we're not friends, and she was like, well, friend of my enemy of my enemy is my friend, I guess. And I thought, what a weird line. Like, why would a vampire call the Slayer her friend?
Right.
Ever.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
right.
Yeah, they've been talking for a while, I think. I got the impression that they've had this brewing for a minute.
Oh, like maybe even before Cordelia went to the other dimension.
Yeah, and so like Bang feels like she can trust Cordelia because I think she's been working with her for a while. But
Bang's like a man on the inside. Kind of.
Okay. All right. I'll buy that. So then we cut to Anya, and I do love her saying no biting because I really the like imagery of Anyanka like kind of feral, but just kind of happy and just like biting at human Anya. So then Papyanka is there as well. And I do, at this point, I was like, I do love the dog voice, I think. And I think I'm sold on it because it's just so ridiculous. Papyanka does not want to merge with this Anya. She says she's Anyanka and then yips. That's what my note says for this scene. And I am also a little unclear, like, okay, well, if she doesn't want to merge with Anya, then what the fuck is she doing there, right?
Yeah, I have a lot of questions about Anyanka's intentions.
Yeah.
I feel like that was like Anyanka just trying to be tough. Like, I think she does want to merge with her, and she's just like, I don't want to merge with you, you stupid human. I don't need that. I'm fine all on my own.
Papyanka's suddenly become like Stewie Griffin.
Please don't tell me that's what that sounded like. Oh.
It did not. Then Anya makes a deal with Papyanka to body swap. She gets we do a lot of spell like collecting here. The spell goes wrong. We hear them all freaking out. Then we cut to Clem and Giles. Sirens are going off. Giles sees the magic box. He says something has gone wrong. And then we hear a loud crash. Dun dun. The end.
Yeah. That sure is the end, isn't it?
Well, now that we're at the end, favorite scene, Ashley?
My favorite scene is the Spike, Drew, reunited, Gem of Amara, Indiria meowing scene.
Okay. All right. Hammy?
That is also my favorite, but I will give you a second. I think the Drusilla and Bang scene is one of my favorites.
All right. My favorite scene was also Drew, Spike, and Indira in the graveyard, like first meeting up. Now, what is an outfit you pictured one of them wearing in your head? Hammy.
Oh, great. I've been thinking about this. So Giles fell in the harbor, so he's very wet. So he's taken off his like tweed jacket and undone his tie loosely and has 3 buttons undone.
Ooh.
But then, they're in the zoo and he gets hit in the head, right? So he needs like a tourniquet to stop the bleeding. So he rips off one of the sleeves of his shirt and uses it as a tourniquet.
I love this.
Yeah, so he's got one sleeve off. His white shirt is like wet and stuck to his like older but still masculine-ish body, unbuttoned.
Hammy,
with dress pants or whatever.
You've given this so much thought. I love it. I'm so proud of you.
I think it's the only outfit I even thought of.
Ashley?
Okay. I chose Miss Bang.
Okay.
Ooh.
So we know that she's been a minion of Drew's for like decades, if not centuries. But I do feel like she seems like the type of person that would like adapt well. And I feel like with her being this like right-hand man, like I feel like she's ready for a fight at any point in time. And did either of you watch the Vampire Academy series on Peacock?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. If anybody listening
I meant
did,
to.
I hate that vampire shit.
then I am seeing her very much dressed similar to how the Guardians dress in that series. So like dark clothing, easy to blend into the shadows if needed. So like a dark t-shirt with like a dark jean jacket and black skinny jeans with like combat boots or docks or like high tops if she's trying to be comfy that day.
I pictured, so I like Drew and Tara to me are the only ones that like are switching outfits. So I'm like, sure, I'll give to. I picture Drusilla in like a black slinky dress, but like shimmery material, and like she has like fur or fake fur, whatever, like on the shoulder of her like cape, and she has like lots of like things dangling from her dress. Like she has like a necklace, she has like a scarf that's like flowing around it. Yeah, I don't know. I like just took some photos because I might do extra photos of like just like what I would have done for the different covers if I did different covers for each episode. And I like put a lot of thought into like Drew looking like a vampire queen, but like translated to the Buffyverse. So it's like ridiculous, but not too over the I don't know.
Top. Not like gothic, like
right.
Yeah, not a big crown.
Right. Yes.
I like the idea of her wearing like a child's tiara though to go meet Spike and just like fiddling with it while she's talking and getting horny.
I do like that.
Like it's from like some kid she murdered like on the way there, some like little girl.
It's just like a plastic crown.
Yeah.
All right, what grade do we give this episode, Ashley?
I gave it a C+ because I gave episode 2 a B, and I feel like this was not as good as episode 2 for me.
That's fair. Hammy?
I give it a C, I think. Yes.
And I also give it a C. Look at us.
Look at us. I always bring the grades down wherever I go.
All right. Well, thank you both for doing this. Thank you all for listening. It's still been fun covering the series, even though we maybe didn't love this episode as much. It's still been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's better than no series.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you all for listening. If you like Slayerfest 98, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and anywhere else you get your podcasts. You can follow us on social media at SlayerFestX98. If you want to follow me, I'm at ENXCarlos. Hammy, where can everyone find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Hammy73 for regular life and thought stuff. You can find me at michael.ham.cosplay if you're looking for my cosplay stuff. And yeah, that's currently the only 2 places I really care about, and nowhere else exists on the internet.
Ashley, where can everyone find you and your other show you're a part of?
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram at 'cause I'm feeling fine, on Twitter at mythtaken314, and I host a podcast about Heartstopper and the overall Osemanverse called Why Are We Like This? And we are on the back end of Heartstopper season 2 now. And you can find us on all socials at Why Are We Cast, and you can listen to us on all platforms that have podcasts and YouTube.
Okay,
Cool.
Twitter doesn't exist, but it does for Ashley. So only follow Ashley on Twitter. That's the only good excuse to be on Twitter.
Thank you all for doing this, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.